In this video, we are going to talk about Jacob's law of internet user experience. So, Jacob's law states that users spend most of their time on other sites and they prefer your site to work in the same way as those. Now, that's the Jacob's law. But recently, in a conference, Jacob Nielsen further elaborated on this law and its shortcomings. So, he roughly said this: if we always do the same as any other site, then how do we get better? You have to do certain things differently for that edge, for that advantage over your competition. Then that makes sense. It's not the case that every design needs to be exactly like the other design. If that was the case, there would be no need of designers in the first place, and we could simply copy the other sites as which we already have, right? So what's the point of having designers if you just have to copy other designs? So it's true that every context is different, every users are different, and different types of users are different. So therefore, things do not need to. So therefore, things do need to adapt or adjust. But in the majority of issues, in terms of interaction design, that is what needs to be basically about the same as what people already expect. So it's not the overall design which needs to be the same as other websites. What does need to be the same, about the same as other websites, is the interaction design, right? Because when users come to your product, when they go to your site, they bring with them the expectations from the cumulative experience of all these other sites where they do spend most of their time. So whenever they're coming to your website or your product or your service, they come with baggage, which is their expectations of how things should work. Those are learned experiences which they have learned over time by using several other tools, right? So they expect your product, your service, to sort of be interactable in that same manner. So deviating from what people expect is causing a big stumbling block in your user's ability to get to your service, your content, to the purpose of your website, right? We don't want that. The purpose of your website is not to be different, right? It's to deliver value. So always be sure that in your pursuit to become very different, you don't compromise on delivering the value, because sure, you can be different, you can try something very fancy, there is no limit to creativity and imagination. But if it compromises the value your website was to provide in the first place, then what is the point? Because the user will not return. Value is the first thing they care about. So focus on the value. Make sure you are not getting too creative that you become a stumbling block in your user's ability to get to your service. So in websites, in web design, there is this convention that all the navigation bars, they are usually on websites, they are usually on top. So they are two different links on top. There is a call to action button. So like the login and the sign up button, they can usually be found in the top nav. So you do need to put that button there. You don't need to put that button somewhere extremely new, like the bottom of the page, right? Just to be different. So I mean, the reason should prevail, but the innovation can be in the design, your aesthetics, in your motion design, and all of the aspects. But the interaction design largely, basically, needs to remain the same, and that is what Jacob's law was actually talking about. It does, when you look at it on a surface level, when you imply it on visual design and UX design, then it can have shortcomings, because as you can say that if we have to copy other websites, then what's the point of having designers? You will never create something new. So that's true. This law will not be very effective on visual design, but where it does need to be implemented is interaction design, because that is very important for a user. It's in their ability to get to your service and to what they want, which is the true value of your product. So the interaction design needs to be meddled with very, very carefully, and you don't need to deviate a lot from what people expect. So that's the Jacob's law of internet UX. And I found this conference really, really insightful. So I thought of incorporating this in this course. I hope you found this valuable as well. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.